Alright, so I'm back, and today what we're going to do is the Build-A-Figure Hobgoblin. Now, I know what you're saying, John, I thought you said that you're only doing one Marvel figure a week, and we already did that with the Daredevil, but you know what, I finished the set. I want to look at it because I haven't put any of these Hasbro Build-A-Figures together before, so I'm very interested in it. So we're going to put it together. So let's see here. Let's see. So we got the legs here. Let's see, we got some stitching going on there. Stitching going on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the buckles go out. So let's see here. Yeah, like I said, I've never put one of these together from Hasbro, so I figure, what the hell? Let's give it a shot. Alright, so. Alright, that went on pretty smoothly. Okay. And here's the next one. Just pop it in. Alright, that's pretty simple. Alright, and let's see. Yeah, I think we're gonna want to put this on first. Okay, we're gonna try and do the head first, I guess. It's kind of cool that this is more of a harder plastic. It has a little play to it, but it's definitely not that softer rubber like, say, this Hobgoblin's cape. That's kind of cool. Is it on? I think it's on. I think we're good. All right. Plug that in. Okay. Straighten out a little bit. Arm number one. Go. Arm number two. There we go. And there we go. Hobgoblin. Sort of. Yeah. So yeah, I like some aspects of this Hobgoblin. I don't follow the comics as much as I used to. I think I really stopped reading, like full on reading Spider-Man comics back when I want to say it was late 90s, early 2000s when Spider-Man died at the hands of Green Goblin at the end of Spectacular Spider-Man. When Spectacular Spider-Man first ended, because that was actually my favorite run, was Spectacular Spider-Man. So this is a newer character. I know enough about him to talk about him. Philip Ulrich, who is related to Ben Ulrich, I think nephew or something like that. Became Green Goblin, was a good guy, then he went evil, then he stole Hobgoblin's costume and killed Hobgoblin. It wasn't really Hobgoblin, it was a fake Hobgoblin, and then he turned into a supervillain, which doesn't really fit his character and persona from the comic books that he was in before. I kind of enjoyed him as a good guy Green Goblin and kind of wish he would have kept going with that. It was a great book. I do recommend, as long as you want to take your comic books not so seriously. As Hobgoblin, this is not Hobgoblin. This is Hobgoblin. Yeah, it's not the right size. I will get the larger version of this that came out in the Spider-Man wave back when Toy Biz was doing it, and Toy Biz knows how to make toys better than Hasbro. Sorry, Hasbro fans. It's true. they got the Marvel Legends down, and I will show you why in just a minute. But they had a Hobgoblin that looked like this, only bigger. That's Hobgoblin. That's not Hobgoblin. Okay, they should have called him something different. Because my Hobgoblin has always had the cape and the glider. The wings, no, it's not Hobgoblin to me. And yeah, I am a little picky, but you know, I'm also not a fan of all the different costumes Green Goblin has had of late. I like classic Green Goblin costume, but that's me. Anyway, so here he is. We've got the wings here. They don't do anything. They just kind of are stationary. He's got this detachable thing for the handle for the flamey sword, which Hobgoblin never had a flaming sword. Some pretty decent paintwork. It's gets a little sloppy here and there. Sloppy right here. Let's see here. Little slop going on there. Yeah, just pretty decent. I mean, for the Build-A-Figure, they really should have went all out and made this thing spectacular. I would have preferred classic Hobgoblin, or a new sculpt for Demo Goblin, you know, something like that. But this, I mean, they could have done more. I like the aesthetics of the head. I really, really, really like that aesthetics. I think that looks great. That, while not being 100% Hobgoblin-y, it's good enough for me to say that's actually pretty cool. I like that a lot. It's different. It's something we haven't seen before, or I hadn't seen before. Other than that, you know, it's change up of the original costume, so there's a few things I don't like about it. But anyway, let's go into more posability here. So yeah, like I said, nothing on the wings. Head is on a ball joint. It's kind of a pain to get it in there. You guys saw me struggling with it. And in the end, you don't really get a whole lot of articulation. Head can move a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and not very much if you try and just move the cowl. It's almost stationary. You know what that reminds me of? Batman the Animated Series Killer Croc. It's Killer Croc Goblin. Alright, so continue on with Killer Croc Goblin. Shoulders rotate up and down. They're on ratchets. In and out. About that far. Bicep swivel. He's got a double ratcheted elbow, but mine, like I said in my Daredevil video, this right here is not ratcheted. It should have been, but it's just loose and floppy. That's disappointing. He's got one ratchet back, one ratchet to get him back stationary. Way too much play for that. I don't like that at all. Waist swivels. Hips go up, back, in and out. Thigh swivel. Double bend elbow, double bend knee. He's got no rotation here. It doesn't look like, but the foot's got that ankle tilt and the ratcheted bend forward and back. All right, now the weird part that I mentioned in the Daredevil video, the fact that the sword comes with this hand, but that's the pumpkin bomb holding hand, and the pumpkin bomb comes with the closed hand, which is the sword hand. So we can give him his sword here. Oh, did I go over the wrist? Wrist rotate, and they ratchet in and, or they swivel in and out. All right. And then we can put the pumpkin bomb in his hand. I wish there was like a little plug that you can kind of plug it into. Because otherwise you just have to prop it in there and hope it doesn't fall out. That's definitely going to go into my parts bin. All in all, I mean, Well, I'm giving him shit. Because he's not the Hobgoblin I grew up with. All in all, it looks like a good figure. I do enjoy the way it looks. He will definitely be on my shelf. I'm gonna have a Goblin shelf when I'm done. So I want to get the Classics Hobgoblin. I've got the Demon Possessed Hobgoblin, and then I'm gonna get Jack Lantern. That'll be my Hobgoblin shelf. Then I'll get the Demo Goblin, and then all the different green goblins that are out. Huge Goblin fan, by the way. So. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't look bad. I like the way he looks overall. He's just not quite the Hobgoblin. And like I said, if they would have named him something else, like Croc Goblin, I would have been perfectly fine with it. I really would have. I don't think they needed to change up the Hobgoblin character. I think Roderick Kingsley as the Hobgoblin is hands down the best of all the goblins, and in my opinion, my personal favorite Spider-Man villain. So, for size comparison, here he is with the movie Spider-Man. So those stack up pretty good. Here he is with Hulk. So again, I think that scales pretty good. Now, here is my biggest complaint, and that's the cost. Okay, this is a Build-A-Figure. You have to buy the entire wave to get this figure. That wave consists of 6 figures at $20 a piece. Okay, so you're spending $120 to build this. So unless you're collecting the entire line or you are a die-hard Hobgoblin fan, then I can't recommend this figure. Why? Everyone's like, well, but you get such a good freebie. Because Toy Biz did it better. Back when Toy Biz was doing Marvel Legends, the Marvel Legends, like him, were... when I first started collecting, there were $7.77 at Walmart or Target, and they went up to about $11 when I gave up collecting them. This is the Build-A-Figure that came with those figures at $7.77. This is what comes out with now at $20 a piece. And this one came in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces as well. Because the torso and the waist were different, I believe. I'm not... Yeah, you plug it in right up here, I believe. But yeah, he's got great paint detail and great posability, and the size is just impressive. This is where we should be getting the Build-A-Figure figures. And, okay, some people give, Hasbro a hard time because these things are going up to $20 a piece. But while the price is going up and the engineering is going down a little bit, it's still easier to swallow this than this, in my opinion. Because if you're just getting because back then, even if $10 a piece, if you're only getting it going into it for the Sentinel $60, this would be $120. And we all know not all the figures in the line are worth buying unless you're in the Build-A-Figure. Anti-Venom? I mean, really? Who gives a shit about Anti-Venom? Give me fucking Venom. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents there. Overall, it's a good figure. Had it been sold by itself, I would highly recommend it and probably give it a 9 out of 10. But because it's a Build-A-Figure and you have to get the whole set, or you have to go on eBay and spend an insane amount of money to buy it, I think they're like $50 to $60. I'm gonna go ahead and say he's a 4 out of 10, and that's really unfortunate because it's a good figure. They should have just released it with the wave. They shouldn't have made it a Build-A-Figure. I understand that they're trying to cut costs and and such. But that's what they should use, like figures like this for Build-A-Figure. It's easier to swallow if the figure's at least this big as a Build-A-Figure. Or like the Rhino, because the Rhino is the bigger figure, and I know that's one of the ones that we're getting with the next wave, which I will be getting because I'm a huge Scarlet Spider fan, and I think there's enough figures in that wave to make me swallow that purchase. Ghost Rider, Scarlet Spider, the Rhino, Chameleon, hell yeah, Chameleon. I can't remember who else, but yeah. But yeah, that's one thing I'm excited for. Definitely will pick that up at some point. But yeah, as far as this goes, like I said, unless you're collecting every single Marvel figure that's coming out, or you're an insane Hobgoblin fan like I am, then this wave's not worth it to you. I personally find this figure worth it. I had fun searching down the pieces. I had fun buying it, and now I have a little bit more figures in my collection. As an excuse to get the whole set, sure, but at the same time, I would probably do the whole thing over again. I'm giving them shit, but that's just my professional opinion, that I think it's kind of a waste of money if that's the only reason why you're going into the whole wave. And the Build-A-Figure is just, it's not what they used to be, as you can see. We can review that thing soon. I got 2.5 of them. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, back on track. Like I said, not worth the full set, unless you're like me. It's a hard purchase. It's definitely a hard purchase on this one. But I like the way he looks. I do. I think he looks great. Not the Hobgoblin I remember growing up, but this thing looks pretty freaking sweet. And yeah, he's definitely going on a Goblin shelf. I'm going to have a Goblin shelf. I haven't said that in years. Alright, so yeah. Killer Croc Goblin. And I guess that's it.